Success comes down to choosing the pain of discipline over the ease of capitulation. Thibaut, my friends, 10 to 15 minutes a day, that is your pain of discipline. And the ease of capitulation is to just say, I'll do it later. Well, guess what? That never happens. Do it today. Like that Nike logo, just do it. Just get up and make it happen. 10 to 15 minutes each and every day. If you don't do that, you're never going to learn. You cannot cram for this stuff. You have to study it day after day. 10 to 15 minutes, that's all. Let's jump into these markets. Everything down but Bitcoin. Let's look at the S&P 500. We can see where it is down 0.99% for the day. We recently had the successful trade in the S&P 500, garnered a 3.70% gain in this down move after things moved over and, of course, started hammering down for us. You might say, Tom, is this done? When's it going to go back up again? My friends, things go in cycles. They move around. It will slow down here. There'll be some good news. It'll pop back up. It'll go green. You'll see some green candles and all. It'll go back into the green as far as the STC goes on the short chart. And then, of course, keep on moving. Now, we look at the 2-day. Where is it? Of course, it's continuing to trundle down. It went into the red on the STC back on the 29th of August. Popped up a little bit in September on the 9th, that 2-day candle. And then, of course, for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles, down movement, just a hammering down. And, of course, we had our weekly chart crossover back on the week beginning the 19th heading down. That was last week and continuing down this week. We have not crossed over yet. Now, I know that, of course, we are already in a bear market. We've had 2 weeks of negative, 2 quarters of negative economic growth. We haven't crossed over the 200 EMA for our point yet, so the weekly has not. So again, our trend on the weekly chart hasn't crossed over into bear territory yet, but we've been trading like bears, and that is fine. But just know where you are on your big charts, your medium chart, and your small charts. That's the weekly, the 2-day, and the half-day respectively. And of course, those of you who know how to read these charts, who know how to use the STC and our success multiplier formula, that number automatically tells you where we are as far as the STC goes. And that is extremely important. We are down there on all 3 of these charts, which means, of course, we're a negative 15. We're waiting for things to go to a negative 14. That is for the half day to pull back or actually pull up. And after it does that, resets on the green STC for us, we can then jump back in again to a down move. It's always something to trade in the market. Don't get upset if you missed this run. There'll be others. Where are we on the Qs, the NASDAQ 100? That was a 4.59% gain over about the same number of days. Quite nice. That was just beautiful. And again, initiated after things had moved up, gone to the green on the STC, and then rotated back over and gave us an opportunity for a nice gain. We're red on the STC on the weekly. I'm sorry, on the half day. We are on the weekly too. The 2-day, just let me get there, and the weekly. And of course, look at it. It's pushing through the 200 EMA. So really getting into strong bear territory. We will see. Now, it did bounce off last time. It could do that, but we'll wait. We'll watch. We will see. So again, nice down trade for everyone who jumped into that with us last week. Let's look at where we are on 20-year bonds. They were down for the day. The big downer for the day, 1.91%. Of course, we had a nice run there at 2.59%. An extended run there. It took it a while to get there. I don't like it when it takes that long, but it did. But that was all right. We ended that on the 20th of September. Then we sort of saw things go sideways for a couple of days, and of course, dropping like a stone again. And again, what happened? Things did sort of move up and reset for us. We were still in that trade and closed it out. I guess if you had closed out a trade, you could have jumped into another one at that point, although this probably would have taken you out of it here. And then, of course, it rotated back over again. So again, got sloppy in here. I don't like sloppy. I like things to be nice and clean, like them to move up through this zone, this sort of darkened zone in here, reset, and then move over. And that's what we saw happen, and that is what we did. What's up with the 2-day? Of course, it is hammering down now on the 2-day and the weekly. We are well below the 200 EMA on those charts, in the red there. And of course, in the red on the weekly, since things rotated over back on the week beginning the 12th of September. So that's a week before the S&P and the NASDAQ 100 started rolling over negative. So again, bonds in quite negative territory. Check out the 200 EMA. We're well below that on that weekly, well into bear territory for bonds. Now, let me give you some food for thought when we move to gold. Gold down 1.16%. I've heard the gold people out there talking about gold. You know, hey, the stock market's not doing good, the bonds aren't doing good, Bitcoin's not doing good. Your money needs to go into gold. Well, I can't wait for my money to go into gold, but I can tell you that right now, and I can't give you advice. I'm not giving any advice. Of course, we're an education firm. We're not a stock calling or gold or Bitcoin or bond calling service. But I can tell you, for me and my practice trading, I am not about to get into gold right now. Why? Gold is just trundling down. It has been. I'm not about to jump into gold. In fact, the last thing we did on gold was that short practice trade. Very quickly, we made 1.58% in a day and a half. That's about all I'm doing as far as my practice trades go on gold. Where are we on the 2-day chart? Look at that. Quite negative in bear territory. Look at how it has just plunged. Where are we on the weekly? The weekly in the last, this is going into the 3rd week, has pushed through, and now we have no candle that is even touching the 200 EMA. We're well in bear territory. At some point, I'm hoping gold will bottom out, and then gold will at some point rocket up for us. I can't wait for that to happen. When gold does that, and we've seen that happen before, I love a nice, beautiful gold chart that works, where you can get in and ride that baby up to the top, but we are nowhere near there right now. Gold is not doing well. It is pushed through the 200 EMA, and it's going to take a lot of work to get it up from there. So as far as where gold is now, I'm not looking to jump into any gold until these charts show me something a lot better than they are now. But when they do, I'll be ready to rock and roll. Lastly, we'll go to Bitcoin, up for the day 2.30%. What do we see with Bitcoin? Well, we can see where again it jumped down to around that 1820 mark, actually a little lower than that, but it's now over the course of this day tried to move up some. We're well below the 200 EMA on the half-day chart. We look at the 2-day, and again, we can see where it's plumbed down to about that level before. So again, around the 1820 mark and all. It is in the green on the STC, but that's not telling you much of anything. We look at the weekly, and of course, it's red, has been red on the STC. And again, we can see where this last week did plumb a little lower than those prior weeks around that 1820 mark. So I'm hoping Bitcoin's going to bottom out around here, give us some kind of bottom, and then maybe it'll test it a couple more times. I don't want to see it drop any lower than that, and then at some point start moving up. But there's so much going on in the economies around the world. I'm just not seeing it happen anytime soon. But you know what? We're going to let the charts lead us. Whatever they tell us to do, we're going to do. Thank you so much, folks, for being with us. We appreciate you. We do love to hear from you. Love to answer your questions on the show. CW@chartingwealth.com. Patreon members, thank you always for your support. You're the reason we're able to be here with you every day. God bless. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.